Hi, my name's Nick Broughton, Randomfish, and I just watched Happy, Season 2. Oh, God. Okay. How best to describe this show? How to describe this series in general? Okay. Imagine you took some drugs at Woodstock that were bad. You then had the worst trip of your life. Now imagine you had another bad trip on top of that. And then imagine you had a good trip on top of that. And now you're sort of floating in this weird in-between space between reality and insanity and once. And for some reason, neither reality nor insanity will leave you alone. That is this show. In a nutshell. It wanders out the gate and sort of just gives you that look of saying, hey, you know how you expect weird and bizarre things? Well, you know what, we're going to hit you with a whole bunch of them, after the other, one after the other, with no stopping, no change. And the weird thing is, I found it entertaining. I mean, okay, let's discuss the plot of the second season, shall we? I didn't review Happy Season 1 because, as far as I was concerned, I kind of just wanted to tuck it away in the back of my mind. I thought it's going to be one of those things that sort of happens, and I won't need to talk about it. I can watch other shows, I can do other things on Netflix, it's fine with no issue. Then Season 2 dropped, and the opening scene of the very first episode, yeah, that whole scene consists of a bunch of nuns running through a street, trying to find a device. One of them grabs the device and presses the button, and then all the other nuns start to explode. No, you didn't just mishear me. Exploding nuns. In the first freaking scene, exploding nuns. What the hell? Okay, I know this is based off of a comic. I know this is based off of something that is so insanely random. And I get that. Believe you me, I so get that. And I'd love to categorize Happy alongside the likes of Kick-Ass, maybe. Because it feels very much like Kick-Ass or V for Vendetta. A dark plot set in a dark sort of version of the world, and it's got all this stuff. And then, but that I can't put it in with the likes of Kick-Ass or V for Vendetta, for example, or even Watchmen. Because with Watchmen, you had these heroes in a very realistic style environment. In V for Vendetta, you had a revolutionary style story being told in a slightly different setting. In terms of Kick-Ass, you had, again, bright, colourful great colourful sort of superheroes being placed up against this very serious backdrop, and it's played very seriously on top of all of that. Happy is, you know what, I'm going to go back to my drug analogy here. It's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but on ecstasy. That's what it feels like. There is a bright blue flying unicorn called Happy, who's voiced by Patton Oswalt of all people, which actually does work very much because, you know, Patton Oswalt is a genius. He's amazing, he does whatever he wants. Paired up with a down on his luck, drunk, alcoholic ex-cop in the first season. In the second season, trying to live a normal life, guy called Nick. Ironic, isn't it? And the funny thing is that in the very first season, Happy goes to this guy Nick, because he's an imaginary friend. And his owner, the person he's the imaginary friend of, the little girl that he's an imaginary friend of, has been kidnapped. And he wants this ex-cop Nick to go and find her. So many questions based off of that alone, but okay, moving on. But then it's not just that. He runs into a whole bunch of other imaginary friends who have meetings, who discuss these things, who talk about the idea of dying, who talk about all these sorts of things. And it's just this incredibly bizarre look into an array of weirdness. And then you discover a whole bunch of other stuff. Like, for example, the person who kidnapped this girl, whose imaginary friend went off and found this ex-detective, right? This ex-cop, right? The guy who kidnapped him is dressed up as Santa Claus. As a Psycho Santa, as he's called later. Psycho Santa. That slightly feels like a Slipknot song. No, wait, sorry, that's Psychosocial. I do apologise. But it's so bizarre. But you know what? That's all the first season. And it turns out that the evil Psycho Santa was hired by a children's entertainer who moonlights as a mob boss for some strange reason, because he wants to take over all the holidays and make loads more money. Okay, I can kind of understand that. You discredit Santa, you make Christmas more about your products. I get that. Loads more money is spent because the kids want to associate themselves with the happy, fun Christmas that you create, as opposed to the dark, destructive Christmas that this evil Psycho Santa guy creates. Okay, I can get behind that. But what's the plot? What's the plot to the second season? He tries to take over Easter. So you think to yourself, oh, okay, is this going to be like the first season with a guy wandering around in like an Easter bunny suit who's kidnapping kids and doing horrible things to them? No. There's a guy in a bunny suit, all right. But it looks like a bunny suit if the bunny was into S&M. And I can actually say that because there's a bit in an episode where one of his victims, the guy dressed up as the S&M bunny, I'm not calling him the Easter bunny, no, he's not. The S&M bunny has one of his victims all climbed up, and he's got a gag in his mouth. He's got a ball gag in his mouth, like you see in those, like in the kinky section. No! Why put... Just no! Why would you do that? And the guy who's underneath the S&M bunny suit is a guy who called Smoothie. He's literally called Smoothie. And he has one red eye and one normal coloured eye. That was kind of cool. It was a cool little, like, sort of visual thing. As if you could always tell that it was him under the bunny suit the entire time. He's like, oh, there's his red eye. Awesome, that's fun. But Smoothie then does this thing because he now works for the children's entertainer who now wants to take over Easter. And he decides that he wants to start doing all these things and, like, helping these kids do these things. So, you know, there's a scene, I think it's either in the first episode or the second episode, where Smoothie quite literally has a bunny rabbit. A bunny rabbit! He then dunks the bunny rabbit in pink paint and pulls him out with the bunny squealing. And you don't see it happen, but fairly obviously, Smoothie cut off this bunny's foot. And puts that foot on a keychain and sends it to the little girl from the first season, who, by the way, spoilers, is Nick's child, the ex-detective, the ex-cop, the ex-cop's kid, is the one who got kidnapped by Psycho Santa, and is now being targeted by the S&M bunny, which is really fucking creepy. And then you have her mother, who is not a cop, yet somehow got roped into the whole thing, because obviously she's trying to find her daughter in the first season. That's fair enough, that's understandable. But she gets lulled into all this weird stuff, and she kind of has her brain broken by all the events that unfold during this whole thing with the Psycho Santa stuff. And then in the second season, she's trying to figure it all out. She's trying to find answers. And she realises that the children's entertainer guy is behind the whole thing in the first season. So she's trying to knock him down. And she spends the entire second season trying to implicate him. Trying to make him sort of, you know, get caught by the cops so he goes to jail. And sort of have the nice, you know, justice-based ending that you sort of come to expect from, you know, from most children-based superhero shows, even one that's got like dark edges, like mobsters and all this sort of thing. You kind of expect them to just go to jail. No. With these shows, they've decided, no, we're going to throw that on its head, and we're just going to have, you know, just have all this stuff sort of get thrown out the window, and all this stuff like. And throughout the finale, all this stuff happens that you don't normally overly expect, but it's kind of cool to watch. And Happy again. The unicorn, the little unicorn, because he's trying to help Nick stay on the straight and narrow. This comes with no drinking, no taking drugs, no gambling, no fighting, no swearing, no any of it. And Nick breaks all of these things in an attempt to get closer to his daughter, but his daughter is still suffering from PTSD from the whole frickin' thing with the Psycho Santa stuff, so Nick can't really help her in that regard. And he starts falling off the wagon, starts doing all this horrible stuff to try and get money so he can stay afloat, so he can actually afford nice things for his daughter. You know, and at which point, you know, and then Happy sort of goes off and does his own thing, meeting up with a whole bunch of other imaginary friends who talk about the whole, when kids stop believing in them, they disappear, or when the kid dies, they die. Basically the idea of an imaginary friend's death being turned into a reality, which is kind of an interesting point to sort of make in this, and I kind of liked that concept behind it, because that was pretty cool. But you know what? I'm going to say it now. Spoilers. Okay, spoilers. You got that? Spoilers for the end of season 2, right? The children's entertainer gets shot a whole bunch of times by the mother. She literally blows like the back of him with a frickin' shotgun. He dies, and even then he falls off the stage and gets up and starts signing things for kids and stuff. Going, I'm fine. I'm not dead. I'm wandering away, and oh my god, I'm going to die. Splat. He's gone. But the daughter wants to try and kill him as well. So, you know, she's given a gun to use, and she goes to kill him on this stage. At which point the dad then stands in the way of her doing it because he wants to save her soul and whatnot. He's completely screwed up and completely damned. He doesn't want her turning out like him. Fair enough. She shoots him, he potentially dies, although he comes back. I have no idea how that happens, but I'm guessing either that last scene is like a fantasy sequence, or it actually does happen and he actually does survive somehow. But Happy then goes through this whole thing of being like, oh my god, I'm going to die, oh my god, I'm going to die, because at the end of the first season, it becomes aware that he's become Nick's imaginary best friend as opposed to his daughter's, because his daughter no longer needs him anymore, which is fair enough. At which point, you then get Happy going up and talking to what I'm guessing is the show's best interpretation of God, who says that he's someone's imaginary friend as well. Okay? Are the creators of the show basically, and the creators of the story behind all this, the comic I think it is behind this, sort of saying, yes, God is not real, he's someone's imaginary friend. Yes, look at us, we're so incredibly, yes, we're so incredibly clever. I'm not even going to try and go into that one, because quite frankly that whole section is just no. And before anybody starts, it's not because I'm a Christian that I take issue with that, it's because quite frankly I don't think that needed to exist. I think you just needed to have Happy talk to his old set of imaginary friends again. I think that would have worked better in terms of storytelling. But Happy's still around and still does his thing. You know, Smoothie never actually gets to what he wants to do. He never ends up sort of doing anything too horrible. Like, he's the one that convinces the little girl that she needs to kill the children's entertainer, Slappy, I think it is. And I'll be honest, a lot of this stuff has just sort of left my mind because this was all so insane. And Smoothie is sort of stood there like outside his house for Halloween or something, and he's happy, he's celebrating, he's going to do something horrible. At which point then you then get Nick, who sort of turns up, and believe me, this is not the grossest part of the movie, but it is the one bit of the entire series that will make you go, ha. Yes, series, not movie. Series. This is Happy Series 2, Season 2, okay? Right? In the finale of that season, this ex-cop, Nick, this guy who's tried to avert from violence, Nick, this guy who has attempted something amazing like a brand new life, he walks right up to this guy and pulls his head around his neck. Literally pulls it round like so, to the point of having pulled off his head, he walks outside in his coat with his scarf, holding this dismembered head, and a kid and his mother walk past talking about what he's going to dress up as for Halloween. The kid stops, looks at the guy, freaks out, runs back to his mother, and the mother goes, "You can go and dress as Psycho Santa this year." And the kid's like, yeah, sure. And Nick walks by, puts the head down with the pumpkins, and the ending shot of the entire series is the guy's dismembered head, literally not even looking like left to right, pretending like he's still alive. It's that look, it's that look. It's that completely contented, happy, sighing look with a dismembered head in front of pumpkins. That shot, I feel, encapsulates the whole show. It encompasses the whole show in a single shot. Because it's creepy. It's creepy and weird and so awesome. I mean, you must understand, every time I talk about this stuff now, I'm not complaining. I'm talking about the complete randomness of it all, the complete weirdness of it all, and I fucking loved it. Every single minute of it. It was brilliant. It was hilarious. It was so fucking weird. And yes, I would watch it again. In fact, as and when I don't have any time on my hands and I actually feel like watching something else on Netflix at some point, by the way, get something for Netflix, it's very awesome, I would watch Happy again. It's a weird ass show. And yet it works. So, what can you take away from this show? Well, you can take away the idea that you could almost talk about the insanity of it. And I mean, I'll be honest, Sci-Fi has cancelled this, although apparently it'll be picked up by someone maybe in the future. I'm hoping Netflix pick it up, or I'm hoping some company somewhere picks it up. I mean, heck, you know, let's face it, like for example, Hulu, after Comic Book Man got cancelled, they've started uploading all of its seasons to their streamer. So maybe a streaming service somewhere will pick up Happy and put it out there a bit better. Maybe, I'm not sure. If they do, good luck to you. I think what amuses me the most is that sometimes complete insanity can draw a lot of people in, yet it puts a lot of people off because of its complete strangeness to it. And I've noticed this a lot in shows very recently. They seem to be taking good fun stuff and trying to put a dark twist on it to try and make it more entertaining to a more mature audience. And I don't know if it's working or not. I mean, I like Happy, don't get me wrong, but I mean, there's only so far you can go with this idea before it starts getting a bit stale. And I mean, that's the problem with any show. It's being able to do something different enough that it remains consistent, feeling new, keeping it up with the original and from what you're trying to do originally, and just try to have fun with it. That's really all there is to it. Just try and have fun with it. But I mean, if you understood any of that jargon, you know what, I'm going to translate the whole thing for you. The jargon basically translates to, the show is awesome. Go ahead and watch it. Go ahead and enjoy it. It's a unique thing. It's a unique taste, but I do think that if you have that taste, you will fully well enjoy this. So, with that being said, my next review should be out at some point. I do apologise for this being a bit late. Please like and subscribe. Comment below if you've seen Happy, if you agree with my analysis. If you don't, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me, because, you know, I'm the one with the camera. So, here come my views on YouTube. I'm uploading my views to YouTube. It's fun. As for what I'll do next, I have absolutely no idea. I have been given a request to review Ghosts, the new BBC programme involving the people from Horrible Histories. Yes, person who commented that on one of my previous videos. I have seen that, and I do plan to watch that series. And I am watching, and I'm going to try and start watching a bit more currently on BBC iPlayer. Once I've done that, I will upload my thoughts on it, but I needed to upload these thoughts because Happy is a show that I think I should watch the second series of, and I think only after seeing the second season did I think I wanted to upload a video about my views on this whole thing. I needed to do this, to be absolutely honest. I needed to get this all out. But if you have watched through this, if you think it's something that you might be into, if you haven't watched it yet and you don't mind spoilers, then that's fine. Go ahead and watch it if you've enjoyed it. If you watched it, didn't quite get into it, watch this video. Hopefully I've talked you into it, because frankly its weirdness and its awesomeness, I think, is a great combination. But please, do like, do subscribe, do watch the things that I review, obviously, and I will see you all next time. Randomfish out.